Nakati Arabachi, the Hells Angels president who once ordered a hit on a prosecutor, now flaunts his wealth to millions online. While being hunted across 14 countries, he posts Rolls Royces in Monaco and Dubai steak dinners, racking up millions of TikTok views. How does Europol's most dangerous criminal leave such an obvious digital trail and remain free? From German bouncer to international crime boss controlling territory across 2 continents, Arabachi built an empire on human suffering, while millions admired his lavish lifestyle online. His organization trafficked women, distributed drugs, and eliminated rivals through violence and intimidation. Yet despite his notoriety among law enforcement, he continues to flaunt his wealth in plain sight. Today we uncover the full story of one of Europe's most wanted, who became a TikTok star. From immigrant to Hells Angel president, the making of Cologne's godfather. Cologne, 1972. As Germany was rebuilding its global reputation, a baby boy was born to Turkish immigrant parents struggling to find their place in a foreign land. Nakati Arabachi entered the world on Valentine's Day, but there would be little love in the path he would eventually carve through Europe's criminal underworld. The Arabachi family endured discrimination and financial hardship in 1970s Germany, perpetually marked as outsiders despite their tireless work. Young Nakati observed his parents' struggles, absorbing the painful lesson that hard work didn't guarantee acceptance or success. By age 12, Nakati had already determined legitimate success wasn't accessible to immigrants like him. He began shoplifting, quickly discovering not just a talent for theft, but a mind naturally suited to criminal enterprise. Where others saw barriers, young Arabachi saw opportunities, his resentment transforming into ruthless ambition. At 15, he formed his first crew of fellow teenagers. Despite his youth, he established authority through strategic intimidation. His operations began with local protection rackets, pressuring businesses for security, a preview of the sophisticated extortion schemes that would later fund his empire. The Hells Angels Motorcycle Club embodied everything that the teenage Arabachi desired: power, brotherhood, and a world that follows its own laws. In 1989, at 17, he began gravitating toward Cologne's chapter. By 22, he had earned full membership, showcasing the ambition that would drive him beyond traditional club boundaries. His multilingual skills, Turkish, German, and English, weren't just useful, they made him a linchpin connecting Turkish and European crime networks, a rare asset in the Hells Angels' global structure. Arabachi methodically targeted Cologne's red light district with its cash-rich businesses. He first positioned loyal followers as security at key establishments. Before applying pressure from within, owners faced a simple choice: partnership or punishment. By the late 1990s, the once powerless immigrant boy had become the godfather of Cologne, controlling a network of brothels, nightclubs, and protection rackets generating millions. His Hells Angels presidency provided both street credibility and international connections, while his business mindset ensured the money kept flowing. The empire's dark foundation: human trafficking and violence. Behind the gleaming facade of nightclubs and the roar of motorcycles lay the true foundation of Arabachi's power: human beings treated as commodities. What appeared to be legitimate businesses concealed an operation built on exploitation. Nightclubs and brothels operated with official licenses, while behind closed doors, hundreds of women lived a nightmare. The mechanics of this human trafficking operation were sophisticated and ruthless. These young women, primarily from Eastern Europe, found themselves trapped in an invisible cage, an emotional and psychological prison they could neither see nor escape. They arrived believing they would work as waitresses or dancers. Instead, their passports were confiscated immediately, the first step in a systematic process of control. Debt bondage became the next layer of imprisonment, an endless cycle where the girls were told they owed thousands of euros for transportation, housing, and clothing. But the debts never diminished. Instead, they only grew with arbitrary fines. One victim described being charged 500 euros for smiling incorrectly at a client. The operation maintained a facade of constant movement, relocating victims every few weeks between different brothels in Cologne, Dusseldorf, and Berlin. This not only isolated them from potential help, but also made it nearly impossible for authorities to track their movements. As the network expanded into the Netherlands, Austria, and Eastern Europe, each location followed the same brutal system. This transnational approach scattered evidence across multiple jurisdictions, deliberately complicating any effort to prosecute. Law enforcement struggled for months to build cases, only for them to collapse overnight as witnesses recanted under threats, undoing their process in an instant. This sophisticated criminal network built Arabaci an estimated net worth of up to $70 million. While this figure can't be officially verified, what remains undeniable is the human suffering that funded every euro of his fortune. The untouchable. Prison, power, and paradox. In 2002, after years of investigation, German authorities finally brought Arabaci to justice. The extensive case against him included charges of pimping, extortion, human trafficking, assault, weapons violations, and leading a criminal organization, representing years of police work across multiple jurisdictions. Yet, prison bars proved to be merely an inconvenience for the Hells Angel. From his cell, he orchestrated a plot few criminals would dare attempt, a plan to assassinate the very prosecutor handling his case. In 2003, from within his prison cell, Arabaci orchestrated a plot to assassinate Chief Prosecutor Jürgen Botsam. Police surveillance intercepted communications, revealing he had hired an Albanian hitman to target the heart of the justice system itself, though the plan was thwarted through wiretapping. His concrete cell transformed into a command center, visitors carrying whispered instructions, coded letters that appeared innocent to guards but contained operational directives, and loyal lieutenants who executed his orders on the outside. Even while in prison, he allegedly still controlled the Colosseum brothel remotely, a testament to his extraordinary organizational grip. His legal strategy proved equally calculated. Witnesses who might have testified against him mysteriously recounted their statements or disappeared before trial dates. Prosecutors found themselves building cases that collapsed under the weight of missing testimony and compromised evidence. After serving just 5 years, German authorities took a different approach. In 2007, they deported Arabaci to Turkey, hoping to sever his criminal connections in Germany. This decision backfired spectacularly. Rather than diminishing his influence, deportation unintentionally granted Arabaci freedom to rebuild with less scrutiny. Blood and chrome, the Biker Wars. Arabaci quickly reclaimed his position as president of Hells Angels MC Nomads Turkey and expanded his operations beyond their previous scope. With enormous profits from his trafficking empire, Arabaci wasn't just building wealth, he was fueling a transformation where organized crime morphed into outright warfare, driven by violence, intimidation, and blood, not just money. Arabaci's ambition stretched beyond his current territories. Eyed as a top contender to lead Europe's Hells Angels after Frank Hainbooth's 2013 arrest, his rare two-continent reach made him invaluable. Under him, the European arm of the motorcycle club evolved into a transitional syndicate, operating like a paramilitary force, armed to wage war across borders. Germany and the Netherlands turned into bloody chessboards as Arabaci's Hells Angels battled the Satadura MC for drug and prostitution turf. What once might have ended with threats became lethal showdowns, neither side backing down. Violence flared with chilling intensity, transforming European streets into battlegrounds. Arson torched rival hangouts, gunfire echoed in public, and targeted killings stoked severe retaliation. The brutal clash in 2016, where 60 Hells Angels stormed a Rotterdam hotel restaurant, sent shockwaves through the Netherlands, leading to the club's nationwide ban by 2019. Arabaci's gang warfare showcased tactical brilliance. Beyond brute force, he forged alliances with groups like United Tribunes, weaving a network that isolated foes and bolstered his grip. When clashes loomed, he directed precise strikes, treating turf like military targets to seize and hold. Even from his base in Turkey, Arabaci's iron grip endured through loyal lieutenants who obeyed without hesitation. His reach stretched across borders, steering legitimate fronts and criminal rackets alike. His deep connections and cunning presented challenges for police task forces scrambling to stem the violence. The fall. Justice catches up. After reaching the peak of his criminal power came perhaps the most unexpected development in Arabaci's career, his transformation into a social media celebrity, showcasing luxury and success. His profiles featured expensive cars, fine dining, and trips to Monaco, accumulating thousands of likes from followers either ignorant of or indifferent to the dark source of his wealth. However, behind the luxury cars and glamorous TikTok posts, Nakati Arabachi was living on borrowed time. While he cultivated his social media empire, authorities across Europe were meticulously building cases against him, including a standing 2015 EU-wide arrest warrant issued by Spain for organized crime, extortion, drug trafficking, and brothel involvement. As Arabachi flaunted his wealth in the spotlight of social media, investigators worked in the shadows. Law enforcement tracked his every move, while he remained oblivious to the tightening circle around him. Despite the coordinated effort involving intelligence agencies from multiple countries, Turkey's policy of not extraditing its citizens kept him beyond reach, casting doubt on whether justice would ever fully catch up. The 2019 murder case in Bodrum proved an unexpected challenge. On August 14, 2019, Ahmet Atik was killed and Arabachi was identified as the alleged mastermind. This led to his arrest in July 2020 in Çeşme, Izmir, but he was released after 10 days due to insufficient evidence, a fact he leveraged to maintain his untouchable image. The political landscape in Turkey had shifted significantly. Authorities intensified efforts to dismantle organized crime networks, with figures like Arabachi becoming priority targets. The unprecedented level of international cooperation created a surveillance net that, while unable to detain him due to Turkey's non-extradition stance, kept his movements under scrutiny. For a man who previously maintained control of his criminal empire from behind German prison bars, this multinational effort presented a challenge his extensive connections couldn't fully overcome. His freedom persisted as he relocated to Dubai, where he now resides, evading the 2015 EU warrant. Evidence connecting him to various crimes continued to accumulate, built through years of surveillance, informants, and financial tracking. Each luxury restaurant photo he posted unwittingly helped authorities document his associations and map his organization. The arrest in 2020 sent immediate shockwaves through his network. Power vacuums emerged across territories he had controlled for decades, triggering succession battles. Law enforcement seized this opportunity to target his lieutenants, further destabilizing the organization built on fear and intimidation. The legal proceedings now involve multiple countries, creating a complex international situation. As investigations continue, authorities across Europe pursue his remaining associates, while financial investigators track hidden assets, freeze accounts, and confiscate properties linked to his criminal activities. Today, Arabachi's social media presence faded. What remains baffling is why someone at the head of any international criminal empire would ever seek the spotlight so brazenly. While most criminals operate in shadows, Arabachi broadcasted his wealth, his locations, and his connections to millions online, a decision that defies criminal logic. Perhaps it was hubris born from decades of evading justice, or a need for validation beyond the underworld. Maybe flaunting his success was the ultimate act of defiance against the authorities who'd pursued him for years. Whatever drove him to such reckless visibility, the strategy ultimately fueled his own undoing, turning his digital legacy into evidence.